What's up, sports bettors? Matt Modi here with OddsJam. In this video, I'm giving you my Thursday night football no sweat same game parlay. So FanDuel, for whatever reason, they actually didn't do it last week. I don't know why, but every other week for the football season, FanDuel has been giving you this SGP no sweat. No sweat meaning you can get refunded up to a certain amount if your SGP loses. For me, they only give me $5. I don't know why. I've seen people get it all the way up to 100. But regardless, in terms of unit sizing right off the bat, whatever the max is that FanDuel will refund you is what I recommend putting on this one. The only other stipulations is that it must be at a minimum 3 legs and at a minimum plus 400 odds. So plus 450, 500 would work, plus 350 would not. So that's the promo. You want to make sure that you click the opt-in button down here. You know it works when it says accepted, and then you can just click bet now and it will take you to the game. So that's the promo itself. Now, in terms of finding profitable plays to put into the promo, there's a bunch of different avenues you can use. One thing you can do is if you go to OddsJam, you go to tools, you can literally use a parlay builder, which you just put in all the information like 3 legs, Sportsbook equals FanDuel, all that good stuff, and it'll literally build one for you. You can use that. I've talked about that in a bunch of videos. What I'm going to do in this video, just to switch things up, is I'm going to use the OddsJam screen to find plays specifically on FanDuel. So the way the OddsJam screen works is it pulls odds from every single sportsbook all on one screen for a market. So in this case, I chose player passing yards. And then what you want to do is you want to compare the play that you are placed, or you want to compare the sports books across each other. In this case, we're looking specifically at FanDuel, and we want to see, is there any situation where FanDuel is an outlier to the rest of the sports books? In this case, yes, for both of the quarterbacks. Let's start with Zach Wilson. FanDuel prices his over-under at 200.5 passing yards. Look at the rest of the sports books and where they price his passing yardage prop at. Almost every single book has it at 207, 208, or 209.5. We see Fox Bet matches FanDuel at 200. We see a couple DFS companies like Monkey Knife Fight, another really good over if you use Monkey Knife Fight, has it at 199.5. Prize Picks has it at 205.5, and Underdog has it at 208. This 200.5 at FanDuel, monster outlier, huge outlier to the rest of the sports books. Same exact thing with Trevor Lawrence. FanDuel has Trevor Lawrence's passing yardage prop at 217.5, and look across the rest of the sports books. The closest one, so Bet Rivers, has it at 218. Every other book, ranging from 225.5, 223.5, and all the way up to 229.5 on those DFS companies as well. Another really good price on Trevor Lawrence. And then what you want to do when you're comparing player props, you specifically want to look out for this OddsJam line here. You want to make sure that no matter what, the player prop that you are betting, in this case, we're putting them into a parlay. I also recommend taking these individually as well. Great bets individually. You want to compare them to this OddsJam line here. So these odds are pulled from Pinnacle Sportsbook, which is the sharpest sportsbook in the world. So Pinnacle prices Zach Wilson at 208.5. They price Trevor Lawrence at 223.5. 8 yards higher than the FanDuel line for Zach Wilson. 6 yards higher than the Trevor Lawrence line, also on FanDuel. This is really good. These are 2 awesome plays to add to your same game parlay. So let's go ahead and add them. So we're taking both Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson to go over. So those are 2 legs. I need to add at a minimum one more. So let's look at the player receiving yards market. We're taking both quarterbacks to go over their passing yards. Let's see if there are any value on a player going over his receiving yards. And here's one right off the bat. Marvin Jones Jr. to go over 19.5 passing yards, minus 114 at FanDuel. Every other book has it at 20.5 except for Bet Rivers and Fox Bet. And Pinnacle, not only do they price it at 20.5, but they heavily favor it going over. They have the over priced at minus 133. They have the under priced at plus 100. And one thing I do want to say, the yardage gap, so actually let me back up here. The gap between the sports books, the yardage gap, which was what I was saying, becomes more valuable the lower the actual yardage props themselves are. So like going from 200 to 202 passing yards, it's still valuable. It's not a huge deal going from 19 to 20, right? Because it's a way bigger gap between those. Like 1 yard from 19 to 20 is like a 5 to 10% difference, depending on how you want to calculate that. 2 yards from 200 to 202, not as big of a percent difference. And not only does Pinnacle price it 1 yard higher, so 5 to 10% higher, they also favor it going over. So that's another way to look at these things. You want to compare where other sportsbooks price them. You also want to compare how do these sportsbooks have the over-under itself priced, meaning do they favor it going over or under? In this case, again, and the last time I'll say it, they have the over, Pinnacle does, at minus 133, the underpriced at plus 100 for 1 yard higher. So that'll be the third and final play for this SGP. So looks like there are 3 plays total that I got for plus 464 odds. So I can only get $5 on this one, so that's what I'm going to put on it. For those of you, again, I've seen people get up to 100. That's what I would recommend putting on it if that's what they will refund. But this is going to be it for my SGP, my no sweat SGP for Thursday Night Football. Trevor Lawrence over 217.5 passing yards. Zach Wilson over 200.5 passing yards, and Marvin Jones over 19.5 passing yards. And that's it. So if you guys are tailing this, comment and let me know. Other than that, appreciate everybody watching, and have a good one.